Hey, Upper East Siders. Gossip Girl here.
Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, and I am so excited to participate in this round of the Gossip Girl readathon. It is going from August 5th to the 7th, which is Thursday to Sunday, yes. And the first book I will be reading for this readathon is The Song of Achilles. I've been reading this for quite some time for another video that is coming soon, but I figured I would double up. The first prompt is to read something with royalty or blue on the cover, and this fits both of those prompts, thank goodness, because I really just need to get through this. I am 204 pages in, so we're gonna read this. Thank you, Gotham's Tale. The next prompt drops at 12, so we have a couple of hours. I have some cleaning that I need to get done. I'm also working from home, so we will be reading sporadically throughout that. But I am super excited. I will leave the announcement video down below, including, you know, all of the hosts and all of those lovely people. So check that out if you're interested. I am going to get into my best Blair Waldorf outfit, and we are going to start. Blair Waldorf is indisputably the best character and the only character in that show. Everybody else can choke. All right, let's get dressed. Okay, this is my Blair Waldorf look. I didn't have a headband, so I used an old infinity scarf. And this is like the nicest thing that I own, so we're gonna go with that. It's also the most comfy because I have to be wearing this all day. So, don't look at the back because it looks awful with this scarf. This was the attempt. Ignore my laundry in the back. This is the attempt. It's not gonna last. 11:03, so the second prompt hasn't been announced yet, but I have decided to DNF this. Like I said, I'm reading this for another video, but it's honestly really, really boring. I'm just getting to the point where they are fighting for Troy. Hold on, let me turn this fan off. And like the battle is the least interesting part of this, and it's like the whole book, really. The pacing in this is just bad. And I know that people love this and it makes them cry, like lots of 5 stars, but I'm not enjoying it at all. And I know why people cry. Like, I know the story, it's very sad, yada, yada, yada. I'm just done with this. So it's gonna be a DNF. I'm sorry if people love this book. I know it's everybody's favorite, but it's boring. And I don't like reading about war. I know the stories, like I'm just giving up. So I'm going to wait for the second prompt to come through, and we will talk about what I am going to read. Okay, so the next prompt has just dropped, and it is to read a book with a character who is hiding a big secret, or by an author who needs more love. So I think I'm going to read the first book in the Boys of Brayshaw High series, which is called The Boys of Brayshaw High. This is a high school reverse harem bully romance, I think. And it is about a girl named Raven who gets sent to a school for troubled teens. So I'm sure there are lots of secrets in there. We're gonna give it a shot. It is 442 pages. So hopefully that goes quick. The next prompt is dropped at midnight, I think. I could be incorrect, but let's jump into this and let us hope that it's good and that I get through it quickly, because that's a lot of pages for a readathon. That's only 4 days, so. I am, okay, well, hey. I am 57% of the way through Boys of Brayshaw High, and honestly, I'm loving it, and it's great. If you are looking for like drama over the top, it's not a reverse harem, but if you were just looking for the most dramatic, spicy, not like other girls, fighting constantly and like tension and all of that, this is freaking perfect. Like it's so good. So it's basically about this girl named Raven who gets taken away from her mom in the beginning of the book, and she goes to stay at this home for like girls, and then there's like a boys version like across the road, and it's called Brays. And then there's like a corresponding high school, but the high school is like a bunch of rich people, and then they bus in like the poor kids or whatever, the troubled teens. She catches the attention of the Brayshaw boys, who are like basketball players, and they are wearing all black and they wear sunglasses, like, you know, all that. They bully her a little bit, and now I'm at the point where she's like actually into like their friend group. So good. Like she hasn't really had like a romance with anybody. She started to have one with one of the members, and I'm just so here for it. The backstory of this town is that there was like these founding families, and then it was the Brays and the Gravens, and they were like rich people, right? But they like had dissenters in the group, and there was like deaths and killings and things like that. And then now we have like these rivals. So we have the Gravens, and then we have the Brays, and like you can't, if you're a Bray, then you don't associate with Gravens. They're just shredding my memory foam. So that is like the deal. And one thing that I don't like in my stories, like especially if it's like mob, mafia, like motorcycle, anything like that, is when the heroine like doesn't get down. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't, like she's part of like the mob, mafia, whatever world, like this dark world, but she like doesn't participate, or she like is like, oh, this is so bad, they're all so bad, they're so mean, like that kind of like whininess. Like if you're in the world, do it, you know? And that's what I like about Raven, is she does it. Like she fights, and she's aggressive, and she's brat, she's snotty, like she has an attitude, and like all of that, and I love it so much. This is just like just very entertaining, and it's just, I'm enjoying the heck out of it, and I cannot wait to read more. I had heard about this before, but I hadn't heard like great things, and then Naima was just like raving about it, so I messaged her and I was like, okay, but I low-key want to read this, and she was like, you really should. And then every single time it's come up, she's like, you really need to read it. So I'm so glad that I'm finally reading it. It's like everything that I wanted. I will say that they are in high school, but they don't act like they're in high school, so I've kind of just been like aging them up in my head, and every time they mention high school, I just like breeze past it and act like it doesn't exist, or it's like college, because it's definitely like new adults. Yeah, super enjoying it. Very happy with how this is going, especially with how much I was dreading Song of Achilles and like was going into such a slump. I'm so happy that I'm enjoying this. Okay, I'm gonna stop ranting, and we will talk when the next prompt drops and I get a chance to look at it. 2 prompts have dropped since I last talked to you. It's like 3 o'clock on Friday. Before we get into the prompts, I finished The Boys of Brayshaw High, and I'm giving it 4 stars. So this definitely could use some editing, because there was like repetitive dialogue and things like that, and there was also like some actions and things like that they were like contradictory. For example, like she would say she moved to the driver's side, and then suddenly someone's in the driver's side seat driving. So it just didn't, like, little things like that like should have been edited out, but you know, it happens. But other than that, like, it was so fun. And like I said in the earlier clip, I like love that the heroine was right on board with everything they were doing. I will say that this whole, like, I'm a girl on the run, everything is temporary thing got a little old, and like not believing that they were accepting her in part of the group when I was like 90% of the way through was a little irritating, but it was so fun and I just really enjoyed it. So 4 stars. And then the next prompt that dropped was for a book, A Second Chance, and I am going to read Eleanor and Gray by Brittany C. Cherry. This is a second chance. They date in high school, they break up, they come back together. All I know is it's Brittany C. Cherry, which means it's going to be emotional, as all of her books are. The last prompt that dropped at noon was a book that will break your heart or with a heart on the cover. And I'm going to be reading Bound by Honor? Bound by whatever. This book right here that has a heart on the cover. It is the next book in Bound by Blood series. I don't remember what it's called. I read the first one a while ago and gave it 3 stars, but by Cora Reilly, because it has a heart on the cover. So I haven't started either of those books. I wanted to wait till I got home to start it because I know Eleanor and Gray is probably going to be emotional. So I'm home for the day and the weekend. So I'm going to probably make myself a snack, and then we are going to jump into Eleanor and Gray. So it is Saturday, and last night I finished Eleanor and Gray, and oh my god. Yeah, so I sobbed several times at this book. So Eleanor and Gray is the second chance romance between Eleanor and Gray. And they were high school, like, friends, or they were interested in each other, but they never really, like, said what they were. A tragedy strikes one of them, and they are forced apart, and then they come back together like 7 years later or something like that, and another tragedy has happened. And Eleanor is left in a nanny position for Gray's kids. And Gray is very different from the kid that she remembers, and so they are kind of battling their feelings for each other, but also she is coming into a family that's very heavily dealing with grief, in addition to Gray, who is dealing with grief. And so the book really heavily follows grief. That's a large part of their relationship, is helping each other through these periods where they've lost someone. And when I originally finished the book, I gave it 5 stars, but then I ended up like sitting back and thinking about it, and I bumped it down to a 4, just because I feel like a lot of the times with a second chance, or a second chance with flashbacks, the flashbacks are often used to kind of set up the foundation for who the characters are and what the relationship is going to be like. But then you flash forward like 7 to 10 years and you're not telling me who they are in the present. Like, they've had a lot change. They're different people, they're adults. So you don't necessarily know who they are, but then the author doesn't tell you who they are in the present. So I don't understand why the relationship would work in the present. That being said, it was an absolutely beautiful story. I rooted for their relationship. It was gorgeous. I cried several times. And yeah, it was a 4 star. Like, I highly recommend anything by Brittany C. Cherry. She's a fantastic author. I will say this reminded me of the latest book in her newest series, the Elements series. They had very similar plot lines, pretty similar characters, but I still think I was able to connect to the couple separately from each book, if that makes sense. So I now am going to start Bound by Duty, which is the second book in the whatever mafia series that is. Born in Blood, yes, the Born in Blood series. So I'm going to start that. The next prompt dropped while I was asleep. I fell asleep like 10 minutes before 12. but it is to read a book with a pretty cover or read a romance book. I haven't decided what I'm gonna read yet. I think I'm gonna get through Bound by Duty, see where I am, see what the next prompt is, and see how I feel about picking up another book, because I might just double up for a prompt. I don't think they specified whether you're allowed to do that or not. They don't really seem all that pressed about that. They kind of just seem like they are cool with whatever you want to do. So I might have one book count for two. If not, I am thinking of reading Black Sunshine, which is a vampire book. It has a beautiful cover, and I know it's a vampire romance. So that's what I'm thinking, but we will see when the next prompt comes out, and I'll update you guys where I am at 12 with Bound by Duty. I will say I gave the first book 3 stars in this series. I didn't particularly love the couple. The hero was fine, but the heroine was like the type of heroine in darker books that I don't like, which is that they aren't on board with what's going on, which is a little bit annoying to me, but yeah. So I gave that 3 stars. We'll see how this goes. I've heard like the first 2 books in both the like connected series are not good, but then the more you go on, the better. So I would like to eventually get to the Cora Chronicles, just because I've heard better things about that series, but I want to read this one first. So I will update you guys at 12 with the new prompt, what I'm going to do, and how far I am through Bound by Duty. So hi, I'm here to wrap up the vlog. I ended up finishing Bound by Duty by Cora Reilly, and I ended up giving it 2 stars. I really didn't like this. I think if we had had a dual POV story, this would have been a lot better. Just the fact that he had a very cold personality really didn't help, like, take it from just sex to like an actual marriage. This is a marriage of convenience, a widow and a widower, and the widower is the capo for Chicago branch or something like that, whatever it is. And he's very cold, like doesn't really talk, doesn't like show any emotion or anything like that. And so they get married, and she's kind of very open to their relationship from the beginning. I liked her a lot, definitely better than the other heroine in the first book, but she's very open, wanting a relationship. Her first marriage was a marriage of convenience. She married someone who was in the family, but he was gay and he couldn't be openly gay, so they married, you know, so that he could keep that lie up. And then he ends up getting killed, and she gets married to Dante. Dante lost his wife, and he is very emotionless when they get married. He doesn't really talk to her, he kind of ignores her, and then they eventually start, you know, having sex, and then that's really the only time he like acknowledges her at all. But she gets a job working at a casino that the family runs. She like really likes it or whatever, and then their relationship goes from there. The issue that I had with this is that he's very cold, like I said, and I think that if we had gotten his point of view, we would have made the distinction between like sex and love and like marriage a little more clear, because there is something that happens 60% of the way through, and I feel like this happened in the first one as well. I'm gonna put a spoiler, even though I don't really feel like this is a spoiler. She gets pregnant, and he doesn't really like have any feelings about it. He like very angrily asks her like, oh, did you cheat on me? Is it even mine? Even though she was a virgin when they married. And so she ends up having a scare, and they're at the hospital, and he like that snaps him out of it, and he's like, I can't promise that I'll be touchy-feely, but I promise I won't ignore you, which is like not it for me. Like I feel like if we had gotten inside of his head, we would have understood a little bit better like his feelings and when it kind of transitioned from one thing in his head to the other, but it just felt really disjointed, and the baby felt like the author didn't know how to evolve the story or the relationship, so she just was like, okay, let's just throw a baby in there, which I already don't like surprise pregnancy, so this just like made it even worse. The last 2 prompts, one was to read a romance, one was to read a book with red on the cover. Still going to start the Black Sunshine because it has both, but I don't think I'm going to be able to finish it in this vlog, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up now. I actually thought that I had until Sunday, but today is actually the 7th, which is Saturday, so I need to edit this, get it up, and all that kind of stuff. But I really enjoyed this readathon, and I will definitely be participating in the future. I'm gonna leave the links, like I said, down below. Make sure you check out everybody's Instagrams and their channels and stuff like that. Make sure you comment down below the books that you read if you participated in this readathon, or just like any of the books that you read recently and you enjoyed. I would love to know. Other than that, I will catch you guys in my next video. Thanks so much for watching.